Welcome back to the Crypto Project. I'm Hans, coming to you guys with a video I'm super excited about today. We're going to be diving into Abracadabra Money and Spell and Magic Internet Money. Their naming's so good. So if you guys are into insane gains, those sweet, sweet bags, that financial freedom, you guys have come to the right place. So just make sure you guys drop a like, hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications. We are working on a lot of good content for you guys, and we are really excited about it. Today, this video is going to be all about an overview of Abracadabra Money and kind of what the project's all about. How does it work? Kind of to get your guys' feet wet, because it can get really complex really fast. I've been trying to wrap my head around it. Once you start to get the hang of it, it can be pretty intuitive. But we wanted to do one video that's an overview, and then we are going to do like a step-by-step tutorial later this week to really show you guys exactly how to do this. So before we get into this too much more, what is Abracadabra Money? Say that 42 times fast. Basically, it is just a spell book. So they have this kind of lore or storytelling kind of set in this like fantasy world. I love it. And basically, it allows you to produce magic internet money, which we'll get into what that is in a second. But you provide your collateral, and you kind of collateral in, poof, stablecoin out. And then to reverse the spell, you basically return the MIMs or the stablecoin that you got, and you get back what you provided in terms of your collateral. And so you might be thinking, okay, well, that seems kind of easy, but it can be a little bit more difficult than that. And so for us, we wanted to really dive into exactly what are the pieces here. And so with Abracadabra Money, there's really two key pieces. There's spell and then there's MIM. And so basically choose your character, which one you want to go with. We're going to dive into spell first. So spell is the token for Abracadabra Money, and you can stake your spell for spell. It's with a little s in front of it. And this serves really two purposes. One, it's the governance token for Abracadabra Money. So it gives you voting rights and what does the project do? What decisions does it make? We'll give an example of that. They just did actually one vote for that. Basically, you got a weighted average based on how many spell you hold, stake spell. And then it also gives you access to protocol fees. Those are redistributed from Abracadabra Money to stake spell holders. And so basically, Abracadabra is a lending platform, and they charge interest for that loan. And so 75% of the interest they get is used to purchase spell that goes back to stake spell holders. So really good for you guys. We mentioned they kind of did this governance aspect, and sometimes that's kind of hazy how certain projects do that. And so for them, they basically just did a proposal in terms of a spell farming and reduction and a supply burn proposal. So they had a really nice write-up here. This is on their Medium page. And essentially they decided, hey, we're getting the customer adoption. We're getting the traction we needed. We don't need such an inflated supply of spell like we thought we were going to need. And so let's reduce how much spell we're putting out there in terms of rewards, and let's burn it. And that's going to help benefit you as a supply holder. And so basically they put it up to a vote. It passed overwhelmingly to reduce the supply by 20%, essentially for like the next like 33 weeks. So it's a pretty big amount. And then just burn that. So huge plus in terms of spell holders. And so this is how kind of spell works. This spell is probably the most basic aspect of this, but basically you purchase it, you can get it from rewards, you stake it, now you have stake spell, you get the money in, coming to you guys, and that's it. You just profit, you vote, whatever it is you got going on. This is kind of what the page looks like here on the right. It's super easy. You just got to buy it. It is available on Sushi, Swap, Uniswap, FTX, Trader Joe, and Gate.io. So those are currently where you can purchase your spell. As you might know, I did choose spell for my week 4 pick. Destroyed Leonard with that one. So I'll feel pretty good about that. So the next kind of character in the story is MIM. So it's Magic Internet Money, which is probably the greatest crypto name of all time. It is a US dollar peg stablecoin, and it is backed by interest-bearing tokens. And so that's that collateral we talked about in the beginning. And so you stake your interest-bearing tokens and you mint MIM. And then you exchange that MIM for USDC, USDT, DAI, and it basically lets you it gives you utility out of those interest-bearing tokens. Typically, you stake something, an asset, you get this interest-bearing token, which is like an IOU, and you just sit on it. It has no utility. Well, MIM gives you utility, which is really cool. So how does that process look? And so collateral goes in to Abracadabra Money. They have a dragon protecting the vault, or at least they do in my mind. And when you do that, you have to choose your loan to value kind of ratio. So the higher this is, the more risk you're carrying. So in like a numbers example, if you're putting in $1,000 and you choose a loan to value number of 90%, you're basically taking out a loan for $900. And it just kind of gives you more risk, but it then gives you 900 MIM. So you get more money to play with. So anyways, your collateral goes into Abracadabra, you get MIM, and then you can convert that MIM to, typically you're going to convert it to USDC or USDT. There are some uses for MIM. You can stake your MIM. But anyways, you convert it there, and then it's up to you what you want to do with it. But now you have utility while you're still earning the yield from that collateral you're here, or maybe the gains that you had, whatever it might be. So actually, let's back up for 1 second and kind of jump into what can we put as collateral. And so this is the list right here. There's some projects like Phantom, Shiba Inu. You can do Stake Spell, Stake Sushi, a bunch of Yearn Finance, a bunch of stuff in here. And so when you look, you'll have to take a look and you can see like how much MIM has already been borrowed and how much MIM is left to be borrowed. So some of these is like 14 MIM is all that's left. So like that's like $14. It's probably not worth your time. You're likely going to pay more than that in gas just to get those assets. And then on this column, you have your interest. So this is the interest that you will owe on your loan that you got for your MIM. Usually these are all very low, like 0.5%, 1%. Some of these that like Shiba Inu is going to be a little bit 6%. So that one's where the asset itself is a little bit more volatile, has a little bit more risk, therefore it has a higher interest rate. And then there's a liquidation fee here. We'll get into that in just a few. But so this is kind of where you go, what can I stake? Take a look, get your hands on what you think fits your portfolio best. Obviously, this isn't financial advice, but take a look at that. And so that's kind of what we can stake or use as collateral. And so let's go over a few scenarios here. So this is kind of, we've been talking in abstract. I think sometimes this can help paint a picture a little bit better. So scenario one, maybe I like to envision this as Leonard. Leonard used Phantom as his week 5 pick for this coming week. And so let's say you're all in on Phantom. You're very bullish on it. You think it's going to go to the moon and back, and you don't want to sell. You think a big pump's coming. And so this Abracadabra Money lets you stake your Phantom as collateral. And so I don't have to sell my Phantom to get the funds that are kind of locked up in Phantom. And so I will provide my Phantom as collateral. And according to their website, it's a 1% interest fee. I will then get MIM out of that. I can then convert that to USDT. I can then purchase Spell, and then I can stake that Spell and get 25% APR. And so I can reverse this whole process too. So while I'm collecting this yield on my stake Spell, my Phantom is still mine when I reverse the process. So I'm not missing out on those Phantom gains. And so let's say Phantom has just absolutely gone to beyond the moon. It's gone to Mars. And we want to cash out a little bit of that. So we can now unstake our Spell, sell some of our Spell for USDT, and we basically go back through this process. And so we're then going to buy USDT, use that to buy MIM, and then we're going to pay back our loan with our MIM, And then basically we're going to get our Phantom back. And so while Phantom has been pumping, we've been earning 25% on our stake spell in the meantime. And so we still have those gains. So it's just a really, really cool process. And you can kind of probably already start to see you can get real creative, and this can get real complicated real fast. So this next scenario here is, let's start with sushi. I have some sushi. I'm going to stake that and get some stake sushi. I'm going to earn just over 10%. That's what the figure was today. Obviously, if that gets more popular, that figure could go down. I can then provide that stake sushi as collateral on Abracadabra Money. It's a 0.5% interest, so I'm already positive. I'm earning 10% of my stake sushi. I'm paying 0.5% interest to basically convert it to MIM. And so then I'm going to take that MIM, convert it to USDT, and go through this same process that we just did on the last scenario, buy spell, stake my spell. And so now I'm earning 25%, 24.2% was the number that's out there today in terms of what's estimated on my stake spell, while I'm also earning that almost 11% on my stake sushi. I'm getting both of those. And then basically when I want to profit, I just have to unstake my spell, sell it, get my MIM, pay back my loan, and I'll get my sushi back, and where I can unstake that. So really cool. And then there's some even cooler things we can do this. This is my favorite one, Win Lambo. So this same sushi loop. So I buy my sushi, stake my sushi, get my MIM, USDT, spell, stake spell. I'm now going to take my stake spell and I'm going to go back through the Abracadabra money loop. And so I'm going to provide that as collateral and get MIM for my stake spell, convert that to USDT, and then I'm going to buy myself a little Lamborghini. Maybe for me, I guess it might be like we'll settle for a Tesla. I think that's reasonable. While I now have my Lambo, I'm still earning my 10% of my sushi. I'm earning my 24.2% on my stake spell. I will have to eventually pay this back. And so you can kind of harvest maybe some of those rewards on your spell and kind of start to chip away at it. But anyways, if you want to undo it, obviously you're going to need to pay back the principal on your loan. So now we kind of did 2 loops right there. And so now you can get into leverage yielding. And this is for those sweet, sweet degen gains. We want to get real dirty. It's 1 a.m. when I'm recording this. I'm feeling that red light degen gains. I'm here for it. Let's amp the risk up a little bit for that reward. So we're going to continue with the sushi example, but now we can go convert our MIM to USDT, buy more sushi, stake that sushi, and then go back through that loop again. And you can do this up to 10 times. And Abracadabra Money has a system where it's all one transaction. You don't have to pay gas for all of this. So basically when you do this process the first time, you can click, there's like a button to click for leverage. I'll show you guys it here live in a second. And it will do it all automated. And I believe that you only pay like 1 gas fee because it's kind of all in one transaction. So really cool. And so the beauty of leverage yielding, not leverage trading, is it amplifies how much money you're getting that yield on. And so for an investment, let's say we have $10,000, we buy that sushi, we stake it, and then we're going to go through this loop. And so if I go through it it kind of depends how much loan to value you choose. That's up to you. 90% is the ultimate degen, whereas you can go as safe and low as 25%. But we basically take that 10,000, invest it. So we get 9,000 back. We then reinvest that and we go through that loop again. And you can see if you do that 10 times, that 10 grand that we have that's getting yield is now turned into almost $70,000. So like 6.8x leverage that we're getting that 10.8% yield on. And then obviously if you go at a lower loan to value ratio, so like 75%, our 10 grand is now turned into $32,000 that we're getting that 10% yield on. Be very careful with this, you guys. Read up, research this before you just totally amp up the 10x at the 90% loan to value ratio. This is, you can get liquidated. You can lose all your money. So make sure you're doing your own research and you're real comfortable. Don't do this with money you can't lose. So when you do this, and this is this example with sushi, so 10.8% APR, and you're paying that 0.5% interest on all of those loans. So normally 10%, 10 grand, I'd be expecting to make like $1,000 APR or every year. And so, but when we go through this loop, if we did that 90% LTV, now I'm expecting to make like 7 grand on my $10,000 investment. So that's like a 70% yield almost. And so that's where you can take a small amount of money and really ramp this up and just farm yields. And so that's pretty awesome. And then once again, totally automated. You guys can obviously fork this. You don't have to cycle the sushi. The automation will only do like, you have to cycle one yield farm, but you can go like sushi, and then you can pivot out of that and then go into spell, whatever it is that you want to do. You can do these infinite loops. It can get pretty complicated. You're going to have to undo all that when you want to finally cash out and pay your loan back. So with that, I do want to kind of go over, there's a few really good resources. So this is on their Medium site. This is like a how-to step-by-step process for leverage yield positions. Really good information in here. I will leave a link to this in the description below. I'm not going to go through this. I kind of just explained it a little bit, but this is a little bit more technical and how to. So if you guys are considering that, if that sounds like something that's interesting to you, click the link, read up on it, get educated before you do it. Once again, you can get liquidated as well. I'll also leave this in there as well as maybe a link that's a little bit of a warning, and to be safe out there with your guys' money. And then lastly, before I wrap up this video, I did want to go through a few of the people and resources I use to help make this video. I always feel like when I'm watching videos, how'd they learn that? How'd they come by that information? These are just a few. There's so many good resources out there that are getting involved in the Abracadabra ecosystem, that are writing threads on this stuff on Twitter that is super helpful and really interesting. There's a Discord. Once again, if you guys are interested in projects, get involved in the community. So here's a few Discord, or they have a Discord. There's the Medium, and then here's just a few Twitter people that I kind of found really interesting threads on and kind of stumbled on. So once again, really dive in. But so that's really it. I don't have anything else for you guys. I really appreciate you guys watching. If you made it this far, don't forget to hit that like button. Drop a comment below. Are you guys in Abracadabra Money? Are you guys using Spell and MIM? If so, have you guys found any creative ways to really amp up those yields and take advantage of this system? Once again, I think this is something that's really interesting and is a pretty groundbreaking way to do yield. So with that, I will leave you guys, but I appreciate your time. Have a great week.